This elevator rises out of the floor, and there's Isaac Hayes playing Shaft, and just the crowd goes nuts.
Yeah, no,
it's got the longest intro in the history of music. It's so fucking long. It takes like almost 5 minutes before Isaac Hayes even comes on.
That's meant for you to like take some time and get your black jacket on, put on your turtleneck, get your walk down, and start walking down. Get you in the mood.
And then there's like 3 lines of vocals. I mean, it's just like, but it's such a great song.
But nobody
and
knows
him but
his woman.
Opening to a movie too.
I mean, no, it's a classic song. I mean,
you hear that song, and you just see John Shaft walking down the street, and it's just
in more ways than one. I'm talking about him like he's some forgotten hero or something, but he has definitely left an imprint with the last 3 generations. And he's going to be remembered for that.
And I quote him almost every day. It really is.
Do you really?
Yeah.
What do you quote every day?
Oh, just
chocolate salty balls.
No. Actually, a lot of times, just when something weird will happen, I'll go whoa, and then I'll go hello there, children.
Damn, that sounds like Uncle Remus.
Hi, Chev. Uncle Remus. What the?
Well, no, like I said, I mean, a lot of people remember him from some roles in the 90s, and people. Now that would be a cool remake. Song of the South with Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes, that would have been. That's the remake.
Redo it so it's not so racially sensitive and pisses people off.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity.
Yeah, comes up playing his piano.
He's a bad mother. You shut your mouth. I'm just talking about the Bluebird of Happiness.
Yeah. Song of the South.
Bluebirds on my shoulders.
Bluebirds be scared to get on there. Get on my goddamn shoulder. Okay, all right, shit. But
tell him you got hit by a truck.
Well, we got 2 guys.
That's my favorite Isaac Hayes quote of all time, though. Is what? You tell him you got hit by a truck.
Truck Turner.
Truck, and then it comes up, and the logo comes up. Truck Turner.
Yeah, people, like I said, I know there's a lot of shit that I could tell you about with Isaac Hayes right now, but right now, immediately, go and rent Wattstax, one of the greatest concert movies ever made. It has a lot of famous people in it, including Richard Pryor. Go watch I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, which Sucker. Look at me, I sound like a white person. I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Go watch I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, which has Isaac Hayes in a very funny role, and of course we know him as Chef in South Park. So, anything you want to add right there?
Dude, I think we've.
Well, here, man, give me a clink for these 2.
Clink for these 2.
Double click it.
That's right.
And one more for Isaac Hayes. There we go.
Well, you've got me clinking beer bottles over your,
Don't think I didn't think about that. I was like, shit, I hope this doesn't break. The interesting point about this, though, is that both those guys, Isaac Hayes and Bernie Mac, were in Soul Man. And Samuel Jackson is in that movie also.
Oh, so, yeah, people are talking about how he's next.
Oh, yeah, I know. And Samuel Jackson, I mean, I got to admit.
No. If Sam Jackson died, dude, I would go in mourning. I mean, Sam Jackson, he hands down my single favorite actor working today.
Oh, man,
I have 3 different Sam Jackson heads on my computer.
Well, if Samuel Jackson died, and I'm not saying he is, so if he does, please. I didn't bring this. No, yeah,
he is not his time.
But if he died, that would be a national holiday for a lot of people. I mean, that.
No, not a national holiday. It'd be a national day of mourning.
It would be a national. The reason why I say holiday because people would not go. I know I wouldn't do any work for the day. I'd be like, fuck.
National day. You say national holiday. No, that's what we're going to throw when Pauly Shore finally dies. Yeah, he's gone.
Oh man, that's so many people to pick on instead of Pauly Shore. There's so many people ahead of him right now.
Dude, you know what? If Pauly Shore died today, I don't think any of us.
Nobody would really notice, but I wouldn't feel I wouldn't feel happiness.
I watched his last movie and I was very.
What was his last? What like in 1999?
No. If you like 2-3 years ago, he put out a film called Pauly Shore is Dead, and it just made me pissed off.
I heard that was funny.
No,
I didn't see it. Wrong. Of course, okay.
You heard way wrong. That movie was not funny.
Well, look. If I was Samuel Jackson, I mean, I don't even believe in this shit, but I have to admit, if I was Samuel Jackson, I'd be like, God damn, am I next? I'll be a little bit nervous. I would be at home, under the bed, or hiding under the covers, because that shit is freaky, man. I mean, imagine 2 people in the same weekend dying like that out of just nowhere. I mean, I know stranger things have happened, but shit. Yes.
The question is, I want to know if it's some anniversary of something in Soul Man. Has anybody seen Soul Man since it first came out?
Well, wait a minute. You're talking about the first movie called Soul Man?
Which one were they in together? You said Soul Man, right?
No. There's a movie coming out.
Oh.
Called Soul Man. Now, you had Soul Man.
Oh, I thought you were saying they were in that together.
No. There's a movie called.
I remember that, but
I know it was
they
like
were
wondering
in
whether
a movie called Soul Man.
It's not yet released. It's called Soul Man. I don't know that much about it. I've even seen pictures of it.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I hope it's fucking good. It better be fucking good, or else we're gonna be sitting there shaking our heads, going, "Oh God, no!" We lost both these guys. We said so many great things, and then they made this.
I will just say,
holy God,
we'll just look back and say, well, fuck, we're glad they weren't here to see
This is the
it.
point where I'm going to make a plea to the whatever studio has it. If the movie's not good, don't release it.
Oh, they'll release it now. They'd be like,
really.
shit, did you see how much money that Batman made because Heath Ledger died? You goddamn right we're going to release this movie. All I know is I feel the same way, man. I hope that the movie is good. I always hate it when guys die and their last roles are something shitty. Orson Welles, his last role was a voice on the Transformers. Now, I know Transformers is a cult hit with everybody, but I can tell you, Orson Welles would not want that to be his last thing. Who did?
When he first set out to make Citizen Kane, he said,
Yeah.
I want to make the greatest movie of my life, and then I want to sell wine and do voices in a crappy cartoon.
And then I want to be the voice of a giant robot. Now my life is complete. But who was that? That did Street Fighter.
Oh God!
I keep wanting to say Ramirez Berg, but that's
no, it's. Now you've asked me after my second beer, and it's like shit. I want to.
Julio.
No, fuck. See, you've got the computer in front of you.
Raul Julia.
Raul Julia.
Yeah, Raul Julia, who's considered to be a great actor.
He was a great actor.
Yeah, and his last role was as M. Bison in Street Fighter. That motherfucker.
Who's playing M. Bison in the new Street Fighter?
They're bringing him back. They're going to bring him back as CG.
No,
I don't know.
There's somebody playing M. Bison in the new one. Who's somebody?
Anybody who plays video games, M. Bison is a huge son of a bitch. Who the fuck thought? Raul Julia, who played in the Addams Family movie.
You right there. I want to stop you right there.
What the hell?
There's so many bigger problems with Street Fighter than
That was one of them. That was a major one of them. Like, let's get the dad from the Addams Family, Raul Julia, to play M. Bison in Street Fighter.
And let's take the American character Guile and have him played by the muscles from Brussels. And let's look at that script. And there's a million other things wrong with that. They were just happy that they got somebody that people would recognize.
The piece of shit movie anyway.
Total piece of shit.
Yeah, no, it's almost laughably watchable, but. I hope that's not the case with this movie Soul, man. You're right. I hope it's a great movie. I hope that Samuel Jackson doesn't have to look at that movie and be like, damn, I should have went next before this shit came out. Fuck this. But it looks like it could be, it has potential from the one photograph that I saw. So
how much time we got? What are we looking at?
Oh, man, we got time for email right now.
Let's do an email.
Before we do that, though, I just want to do a quick throwback to what we were talking about with the whole retard word and everything. The reason why maybe I feel so sensitive about that is because we use that word. We make fun of everybody on here, and that's our excuse. We use it. And sometimes I say things, and after we're done, I go back and I'm like, man, I feel kind of weird saying that. So, I mean, maybe that's why I feel this way about that. But I know very well that I'm not above doing that myself, and I'd use a lot of derogatory terms. But my whole excuse is that I point out everybody. That's not always a good excuse, I guess. But anyway, you wanted to bring up something,
dude. I watched Doomsday this weekend, and I was here when you recorded your review for that, and you ripped into that film. You're like, man, it's not worth checking out. It was awful, and you just ripped it up. And
I did not rip it up. I remember saying, now I don't know if I gave it a rental or a matinee. I might have given it a rental, but I said that I had a lot of fun watching that movie, and I said that it was a bad movie, and I still think it's a bad movie, but I had fun. I enjoyed watching it.
The thing is it's not a bad movie for what it is and what it's attempting to do. I thought it was fantastic. The problem is Universal had no idea what they had on their hands. Nobody ever. The problem was that Neil Marshall was too serious when he was talking about the film with them, and never uttered the words, "This is my grindhouse." And what he did is he went and made his grindhouse. He made the movie of the films that influenced him. Now, Neil Marshall's about 10 years younger than Quentin and Robert. So the movies that influenced him weren't these, grindhouse films of the 70s. They were Escape from New York, Excalibur, The Warriors, the Mad Max and The Road Warrior. These are the movies he grew up with as a kid, and he was like, oh my God, I love these movies. I want to make a movie like that, and made a movie that was evocative of all those films.
See, you know what my problem is with that? I'm tired of people making intentionally bad movies and then going off and saying that's what I want to do.
Except he didn't make the intentionally bad one like Quentin and Robert did. He made the one that he wanted to make a badass version of those stories, and he did.
See,
that movie is so much. It just came out on DVD on the 29th. Guys, if you enjoy Grindhouse style stuff, if you like any of those movies that I just referenced, this is a fun movie. Check out the unrated.
See, I saw the theatrical version. I told you, if I saw it on,
the unrated's only 4 minutes more, and it's not where they extended scenes. Dude, the blood in that is unreal. They kill things and blow it apart for no apparent reason at times. Things get run over by buses and pop with huge spouts of blood, and it's just so unrepentantly 80s and so much fun. It was that film that I always wanted to see.
I would like to see that on video. I would really like to see it on video.
Dude, I'll lend it to you. I'm keeping the DVD. I got sent it for review, and most of the time you get crappy movies and you take them into half price or something. This is one of those movies that I'm like, dude, I'm putting this on the shelf. This movie fucking rocks.
No, I'd like to see it. I mean, but see, my fun with it was how ridiculous it was. So I by no means will even say that even if it was his intention to make, as you said, a grindhouse movie or to make a bad action movie, whatever, it's still pretty bad. But to his testament, I had fun watching it. But I think it's better to watch on. I'd probably give it a rental because I think that's the perfect way to watch it.
Yeah, I wish I'd seen it in a theater. It was just so
I think
much
you probably
fun,
saw it better.
That ending. That ending was so good. Oh my God, did I love that ending? And it's
what did you talk about the car chase at the end? And
no, like the ending where she rolls up at the. I don't want to spoil it for them. I'll talk to you about it.
You thought that was great,
dude? That was such the ending that we never got in the 80s. That was that ending that you always wanted to see and you never did. And that's I dug the hell out of that movie. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you liked it. I will say I didn't enjoy it as much as you did.
No, but then again, I wouldn't expect you to because you don't enjoy that era of filmmaking.
No, I do enjoy that era of filmmaking.
No. You like certain movies of that era, but there's movies that I love from that era that you
like
do
what?
not.
I mean, like what? For example,
Battle Beyond the Stars, Krull.
Krull and Battle, because those are bad movies.
Well, here we go. So, see, you don't. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's not a diss on you. You just don't appreciate that period of filmmaking.
I remember I saw Krull when I was a kid. I saw it. I probably saw it. No, I didn't see it there, but I remember when they were advertising. I did see it when I was young, and back then I even thought like,
dude, I love Krull. I love Krull. But this is what I'm talking about. Is I love if you love that era of filmmaking, which you don't.
We're talking about 80s. I mean, we're talking about certain movies from that era. Like, I mean, if you want to put certain things in there, Escape from New York.
Yeah, exactly. But Escape from New York is like the pinnacle. That's like up there in like the top 5 of those films. That's when John Carpenter was at his best.
But Krull is, even back then, it was critically panned and considered to be a really bad movie.
Except what I'm just talking about how the fact that I love that era of filmmaking.
It's not that era of filmmaking because you say 80s.
No, I'm not saying you don't like the 80s. You don't like that era,
that's the era.
Of genre. You like the best of that era. You like the films. If I asked you for a top 5 of the genre films from 1980 to 1985, you would name the same exact films that every other person would name that isn't a hardcore fan of that era. You would start naming off, well, I love The Thing, and I love Escape from New York, and I love The Road Warrior.
Carlo, there's a reason why people remember those movies and they don't remember Krull.
Dude, they do remember Krull.
They remember Krull as a bad movie.
No, but Krull isn't a great film, but I love Krull. What I'm talking about is I love that period of genre.
I even remember the
filmmaking.
Krull video game,
Dude,
which was better than the movie.
I made an obscure reference a week and a half ago to fucking Megaforce, for Christ's sake. That is my era. That's
Megaforce was another movie.
Megaforce is awful.
Look,
Megaforce is
I was about to say, man.
I love it. I love it for how bad it is.
Megaforce and Krull are things that you see on TV and you remember seeing them and you're like, okay, this is kind of cool watching on TV. It's not a good movie, but are they good movies?
This is what I'm talking about, Corey. This is you're taking offense to this because you don't appreciate.
No, I'm not taking offense, but I'm just saying you're holding these movies up in high regard for yourself, but don't act like these were like movies that were widely accepted as these great movies and representative of their era.
But see, you are. I'm talking about as somebody who is something of an expert on that particular era. I love these films, and I am talking about these films for people who also enjoy that era. But notice, Krull came out in 1982. A few weeks ago, I put up my list of the top 10 films of 1982, and Krull was not on it. Why not? It's not one of the best films of that era. I love it, but it's not, it's not
See,
one of the best.
this is the way I would look at it. I would say Kroll has a personal. I mean, it's a movie that's personal for you. It's a personal favorite for you.
But that's what
But it's not widely representative of that era.
But no, it is representative of that era because we had so many films like it in that era.
No, that was the era of
out.
bad fantasy movies.
Well, yeah, but I happen to enjoy those for what they are. Just like you have a love of exploitation films. Now you have a love that surpasses even my own. That's why I never try to argue exploitation with you because you love exploitation far more than I do.
But I love a lot of shitty movies myself from the 70s and 80s. I mean, think about all those killer animal movies that I'm always renting and shit like that.
Dude, this is exactly this is the point I'm trying to make. Doomsday plays to me. Doomsday plays to it makes slight subtle references to movies you may not have even seen, let alone have thought of for 20 years, even if you did. It is that kind of a movie. It is the grindhouse of that early stuff. It draws from a lot of the obvious stuff that you have seen and a lot of the great stuff, but it also draws from a lot of the thing about Doomsday is it's a drive-in movie. Whereas it's not a grindhouse movie because it's not of that era. It's from the drive-in era when this was the midnight movie. Like a lot of people don't realize, Highlander was released in drive-ins and played as the third film of a 3-film thing where you'd have your 2 mainstream films and then they'd play Highlander at the end. That was the midnight movie. I had a friend who, years ago I was working with, and he talked about the experience of seeing it in a theater, which I did not get to do, and talked about how he had seen it at a drive-in. Everyone else had fallen asleep. He couldn't sleep, and he's just like, fuck it, I'll watch this next movie. And it was Highlander, and it was
where I
awesome.
live, Highlander came out in the theater. I mean,
well, yeah, but you lived in Waco, dude.
Exactly,
dude.
Yeah. I mean, how abundant were drive-ins at the time, though? You know what I mean?
At the time, there were. Now there aren't. I mean, the era of drive-ins is done. There's a few scattered.
It's gone as a novelty, but
yeah, there as a novelty.
I just remember when Highlander came out, that was like drive-ins were around, but they were disappearing.
Yeah, they were starting to. Yeah, but that's my point. Is that was the 80s were kind of the tail end of drive-ins, and these movies were of that era. It was like that last.
I understand what you're saying.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Doomsday was something.
Doomsday is that movie, so I understand why you did it, but I'm just saying.
But I tell you what. Okay, here's what Doomsday did to me. Doomsday reminded me of a lot of movies that I loved that were pretty mainstream, and it took that and tried to blend all these movies and kind of make really cheap, bad versions of them. I mean, there's obvious references to Escape from New York. There's obvious references to Chud. There's obvious references to Excalibur. There's
I would
obvious
disagree with Chud, but I see where you're coming from with Chud, but Chud isn't there.
This whole thing with or any kind of zombie movie in a way where they just eat cannibal. I'm talking about the cannibal part of the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then, God damn it. And then you have I was going to say the Road Warrior. Now, if you look at that last chase scene, that's pretty much a rip of the last scene in the Road Warrior. That car chase, they stole scenes out of that. I wouldn't even say inspired, stole. And I'm looking at this and I'm like,
having just recently watched Road Warrior, they didn't steal, but there was
at the time I had seen this is
now,
what
there
Lee
is
and
a
I was
shot.
talking
There's a
about.
shot in there that they steal right out of the Warriors.
Was it the head thing or?
No, out of the Warriors.
The Warriors.
Yeah, where the bus kind of comes around and all the guys are hanging off, banging on the side, and she's running down the street. God, the movie is just so much fun.
I see, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, wow, this guy was influenced by all these movies, and he took it and tried to fit too much into this film, and I've seen it done better. But hey, while I'm watching this, the stupidity is making me laugh. I mean, they got what really set the tone for the movie for me was this part right here. There's this area where apparently these turrets are keeping guard, computerized turrets, I loved it. But okay, apparently these turrets have been up for a year or two.
They've been up for 30 years.
So okay, goddamn 30 years, man. Now 30 years. If those turrets out there shooting shit, there should be nothing out there. But yet there's one rabbit who comes out of a hole and they blow that motherfucker up.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking.
They don't just blow them up. They
eviscerated this rabbit. It's a powder of red spray. I'm thinking,
they pulp that rabbit.
30 years, things would be gone. What makes this rabbit special?
This is exactly the problem I knew you had, because you have a hard time wrapping your mind around small logic things like that.
Well, no, it's not even the logic. It's saying that they skipped logic to show us a scene where they had to show how effective these tourists were about blowing up a rabbit. This one brave rabbit that said, fuck it, I'm staying in the neighborhood. You ain't gonna make me move. I'm staying at my home. And the rabbit comes out, ah! But I think they could, if they want to show how these tourists could rip somebody apart, they could have done it in a better way, because that's all the rabbit was there for. I wouldn't ask for logic if it was out there, but they said, we're going to frame this one rabbit so we can just have it there to blow up.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like...
But that was so 80s. The thing is that was such a product of the 80s, and that was so something that you would have seen in 1984. That's what I appreciate about it. This is such a throwback to that era, and I think the real problem is that Neil Marshall... I think his last name's Marshall.
No, yeah, I think so too.
Neil,
Neil Armstrong.
he was afraid to use the word grindhouse because Grindhouse had bombed. But that's what this was. This was his grindhouse. He didn't add in the nicks and cuts, and he didn't make it all gimmicky. And he actually tried to make a good movie from that era. But this is a movie that is all about taking you back to the 80s and those movies and when you were a kid.
Maybe I had a little bit too much insight too. I followed that video log when they were making it, because unlike you didn't like The Descent.
No, I hated
I love The Descent. And so I'm watching this guy's video blogs as they're making Doomsday, because it sounds great. They're going into a city to find this cure, and by the way, I love when people were like choking up and shit off of this virus. People get all nasty.
You have a zombie film fetish. You love.
I love zombies. I do. Everybody knows that. I love zombie movies, but I'd love the whole thing of going to a deserted city and having to get it and come out. That's why I love Escape from New York.
Oh yeah, no, Escape from New York is far superior. In fact, all of the films. There's not a single film that I say, you know what he improved on.
Oh yeah, no, I know that. I'm just saying I followed this video blog and I'm thinking this is going to be a cool movie, and he's so excited about it. He's given his testament of what they're shooting that day, how his wife is in some scenes, and he's just excited about this movie. And it never once does he sound like, oh yeah, I'm doing this as a joke, or I'm doing this as an homage. He's saying we're making this kick-ass action movie, and then I see it and I'm like, not so kick-ass. Funny, yeah, but not so kick-ass.
Yeah, he was not. No, and I found it kick-ass, but not kick-ass in the. I found it in a kick-ass genre fun sort of way, not in a, oh my God, that's a Quentin Tarantino badass fucking movie. It's no Pulp Fiction. It's no, I mean, even Escape from New York had its tongue firmly in its cheek. I mean, it's the thing is Escape from New York is part satire.
It is, and Escape from New York
you see where he went too far in Escape from L.A. because Escape from L.A. just didn't work.
I tell you, man, let me say, and it's kind of off subject here, but I'm not a big fan of, and if it's done well, I'm fine with it. That's probably the wrong way of putting it, but I'm gonna say it that way anyway. I think I've seen so many directors come up with that saying, I was influenced by these movies, and therefore I'm going to regurgitate what I've seen, because these movies that they were influenced by, they were original films. They were doing original shit, as bad as they might have been. They were inspired from something. I like it when a director comes up and is creating new things. Certain directors have created a career by just pretty much creating movies from their influences, and I'm saying that's fine. I mean, if that's you.
You can't pin that on Neil. This is that film that he decided to do that.
Well, I don't even know if he wanted to do that. Look,
his previous two films aren't anything like that. His previous two films are very original and are something, where he was striking out and trying to do
Dog Soldiers
and The Descent. And while I hate The Descent, I see why The Descent is effective. I just fucking hate the characters.
I love The Descent, man.
Hate it. God, do I hate that film. I still have it on DVD. I keep meaning to take it in and sell it.
I mean, you told me how bad it was. Maybe because you said that you hated it as a bad movie. I saw it and I was like, wow, I really love this movie.
Now, you saw it with the American ending. I saw it with the British ending.
I saw both.
Well, you saw the other ending on YouTube. You went back and
no, I actually.
I remember when you told us about that. You're like, oh yeah, I said the last 10 minutes of the original cut are on YouTube.
No. I didn't say that at all. Because I didn't see it on YouTube. I had the movie on my computer and watched it that way, and then I went to see it at the theater afterwards. And I saw Hey man, I gave my money to the movie though. I watched it on a rip of it on my computer.
Yeah,
and then I went and then I took somebody to see it at the theater, and I saw both versions, and I don't regret paying money to go see it at the theater even after seeing it for free. And look, if they had made Doomsday about a crew that went in to save rabbits from being blown up, then I think I would have loved it a lot more. Because that was one of my favorite.
See, and
parts
that's
of
the thing is you're hung up on the silly little things that they threw in there.
Make a silly ass movie. Make a movie about rabbits going in to save other rabbits being blown up.
Bitching about, I don't get the whole Excalibur thing, and And that was just...
I get it. It
was
just didn't make
fun.
sense. These motherfuckers are hanging out. It's the apocalypse, and they robbed a costume shop. Everybody's walking around in robes and armor and shit. And I'm like, come on, man. I mean...
And it totally makes sense in the context of the movie, where you have this religious zealot, this guy who's convinced them that they were chosen to live, a pure lifestyle and to throw off the yoke of modern day. And they've got all this stuff that they can make by hand. And yet they didn't take down the gift shop sign, which is just so fucking awesome.
I just didn't think that was possible. And hey, you know what?
And see, that's what I'm talking about. You could not wrap your mind around.
I mean, look, if my intelligence, my logic keeps me from wrapping myself around a movie, God bless me. I mean,
not God bless you.
Yes, I mean,
what I'm talking.
It's like this. That's a flaw for me to use my logic for a movie. I mean, come on.
Well, no. The flaw is that you get hung up on those logical things and you can't enjoy the movie for what it is, despite that. It's like getting your sweater snagged on a fence and then you can't go.
Let me put it this way: if logic came into play that much for a movie for me, I wouldn't love The Dark Knight, because that movie is fucking out of space.
That movie is not out of space. That movie doesn't have logic.
A man running around in clown makeup, putting bombs everywhere without the police being able to catch him.
Everybody in the movie thinks he's fucking insane for doing it.
But the thing is,
logic
would tell you that you cannot do that. A well-made movie makes you look past those leaps of logic, and you buy it for that world, that universe. Whatever happens in that movie is made believable.
But you get caught.
I get caught up in logic in bad movies. That's what it is. Because if you make something shitty, and
I know this is how you rationalize it in your head.
No,
but this is what separates you from me. This is
how you rationalize
makes us completely different movie watchers.
See, it's not rationalizing on my part. I'm looking at it for what it is. You rationalize it for your enjoyment.
That's because when I walk into a movie, I want to enjoy it. I'm not looking for a film to be entirely internally consistent, because it's a fucking movie. I mean, there's going to be huge leaps of logic that we have to take, even in the best fucking movies.
Now, understand what I'm saying. A good movie will make you overlook those leaps of logic.
A great movie will make you completely overlook.
And you will look at it and be like, and even some movies where you're like, hey, you can't do this, but it was enjoyable. I mean, look, it's all perspective, right? I mean, you have yours and I have mine. There's some movies I can look past, and then there's some movies I can't.
Right. The thing is, this is one of those movies where you got hung up on those little things. Well, no, and it impeded your enjoyment.
I don't think it's even that. I just think that it wasn't a very well-made movie. That's all. I mean, it's not even about me looking at things and saying, that's not possible, because it's a fucking movie.
And I think it was a very well-made movie for what it was attempting to be. For what it was trying to be. Now, is it a great movie on par with Gone with the Wind or Casablanca or
Oh no, I didn't say that.
No, fuck no. And I wouldn't even put it in the list of the films that it is clearly borrowing from. But as an homage film, you know what? I gotta say, I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed either of the Grindhouse films.
See, this it's a matter of taste. Like, this is the reason why I like The Descent and you didn't. Sure. You know what I mean? Again, now if I wanted to look at that movie and say, wait a minute, there's a cave that you can go like barely 12 feet under, and there's creatures down there and whatnot.